Hello, wonderful people of the great World Wide Web. Follow me on my way to Nordkapp, traveling on a budget with no real plan, just a general direction, not taking the shortest route either, but exploring along the way. In the last episode, I explored northern parts of Finland. In this episode, I left Finland behind and crossed into Norway with one clear goal, reaching Nordkapp. Let's find out what's next. We are continuing where we left off in the last episode, with Finland behind me and Norway ahead. There was only one thing left to do: keep riding north. The bike issues were still somewhere in the back of my mind, but they didn't change the plan. At this point, reaching Nordkapp was non-negotiable, even if I had to continue on foot. The farther north I rode, the more the temperature began to drop. The air felt colder with every kilometer, and for the first time on this trip, I had to reach for my warmer layers. And after more than 6,000 kilometers and 26 days on the road, through heat, rain, wind and bike troubles, I finally made it. To the place where the road ends, where the world seems to stand still, and the north becomes nothing but sea, wind and sky. Nordkapp. I'm not really a selfie person, but that evening was an exception. I took a few, then a few more, and somehow ended up with an entire collection. Every time I look back at my Google photos from that day, I have to laugh. I probably took more selfies that evening than on all my previous travels put together. I was hanging around for a few hours, and then it was time to find a place to spend the night. Or what passes for night that far north. I got lucky, most of the spots were already taken, but I found a campsite a bit further off the road. And not just a spot, but a perfect one, with a creek nearby and a great view. The next day, I got really lucky. I woke up to clear blue skies and that rare Arctic calm. After packing my gear, I went back to Nordkapp to spend a few more hours just being there, letting the place sink in. And after taking one more selfie, it was time to start heading south. But this time I had at least a rough sketch of a plan, at least for Norway, with Alta as my first waypoint. While riding toward Nordkapp and now continuing toward Alta, the bike's issues and jerking started to become more noticeable with every kilometers. My mind was running through possible causes, trying to find a solution, because I knew I wouldn't make it home like this for sure. And then I started connecting the dots. What was the one thing every mechanic was checking whenever they looked at the rear wheel? Chain slack adjustment. Okay, let's try it. I stopped at a rest area, and thanks to my newly learned trick of getting the bike onto the center stand even with a full luggage, I cleaned, lubed and adjusted the chain on the spot. After that, the vibrations become noticeably less intense, still there, but manageable and rideable for sure. From that moment on, I built a new routine. At every fuel stop, I checked and adjusted the chain. closer I got to Alta, the more the skies turned cloudy, and just before reaching the area, the rain caught up with me again. I decided to look for a place to spend the night. I found one, but due to some technical issues, it turned into a rough, sleepless night. The roof of the shelter was leaking. Next day, I started feeling like a cold was catching up with me. Headache, low energy, that overall weak feeling. One of the perks of getting older is that you don't even need a night out to wake up with a hangover. But I couldn't stay there. I had to keep moving, so I decided to stick to paved roads toward my next waypoint, Lofoten. As the day passed and the kilometers piled up under my wheels, with a few meals, breaks and short naps along the way, I started to feel better. I felt relieved because the last thing I wanted on this trip was to catch a cold. At one point, I saw a rider sitting next to his bike and stopped to check if he needed help. Turned out he was just taking a break. We started talking and I learned he was on an incredible journey, riding all the way from India to Nordkapp. And it wasn't even his first big ride. He had already taken his Himalayan 411 from Mumbai to London. I leave his Instagram into the description, Roaming Wheels. After a short chat and a few selfies, we each continued our journey. I reached Lofoten in the evening and decided not to cross over to the islands that day. Instead, I looked for a place to stay and explore Lofoten the next day. I found a really affordable campsite, and the first shower after leaving the campsite in Finland 3 nights earlier felt like a kind of magic cure. The next day, after a coffee and sharing a few cans of tuna with my new feathered friend, I finally crossed over to the place I had dreamed about since seeing snowboarders carve their way from the mountain peaks down to the beaches, the Lofoten Islands. I spent a relaxed day riding around the Lofoten Islands, and the place turned out to be even more beautiful than I had imagined. because it was peak season, finding a free camping spot was almost impossible. I finally found one next to some rocks, hoping they would block the strong wind at night. There, I also met another awesome adventurer. He rides his GS into the mountains and then hikes up to the top. Respect, massive respect. I leave his Instagram in the description. Check him out. The next day, due to bad weather, I didn't ride much. I used the dry time before the rain to clean, lube and adjust my chain, and just enjoyed being there for a while. As the rain picked up, I decided to take the afternoon ferry to Boda. And with a farewell to the Lofoten Islands, this video comes to an end. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one as I continue my journey through Norway. Ride safe and keep exploring!